Hi guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thanks very much for joining me today. As you can see by the title and the image, I'm doing a review of some pan pastels. Now I was lucky enough that I was sent this set along with a few other tools and what have you that you can use with them, which I'll show you in a second. I've watched pastel artists for quite some time now, and up until now, I had tried pastel pencils. I've done a couple of reviews on pastel pencils and pastel blocks, that type of thing. But I'd never got round to testing and trying the pan pastels. I had heard an awful lot about them. I had seen other people use them, that type of thing. But I'd always kind of like wanted to have a go myself and see what they were like and do a proper review on them. So one of the first things that I had to make sure that I was going to do in order to show these in their best light, I suppose, was to find a proper surface to use pan pastels. So the surface that I have used, I've tested a few different ones, but the one that I use is this pastel mat. Now I'll go into more detail about the pastel mat a little bit later on. Now, let me see. Just let me lift out one of these little things. As you can see here, they are like little trays. They look like makeup trays. The first time I kind of got them and opened them, my youngest daughter said, "What is it? Is it makeup or something?" And I said, "No, it's pan pastels." But it's kind of like a makeup format. And as you can see here, the set that I have is highly pigmented. The colours are very bright and vibrant, but there's a whole range of colours that you can get from the set. In fact, actually, I think it's 92 colours in total. I think 80 of those colours are like colours like this, and then the remaining 12 are broke down into things like metallic colours and pastel shades, that type of thing. But I will be leaving links in the description and over on the written review of this to the PanPastel website. And you really must, if you're interested in pan pastels after you've watched this review, you really must go across to their website and have a look and see what they have available. And not just what they have available. This is one of the things that I found really amazing about this company, is that they don't just provide the product and the tools to apply the product and stuff like that. They have a whole range of videos and cards and stuff like that there where they teach you different lessons. They give you little different lesson plans that you can do. As you can see here, so when I got this set, I got this little pan pastel catalogue, and in here it obviously gives you a rundown of the different sets that are available, the different colours that are available, that type of thing, because you can get them, you can buy them individually and stuff like that. You can buy them in big sets. But at the front of the book as well, it goes into a little bit about the story, how the company came around and how they got started. Let you know a little bit of information about the actual pan pastel itself. Goes through the colour spectrum that they have, but I'll have a link to all of that on their over to their website on my written review and on the description down below. Gives you a little taste of the applications that you can get, but it also goes through basic techniques and stuff like that. But not only do they have this, they also have these little pan pastel lesson plans. Now I'm not going to show you them all on here because the best thing to do is to go to their website and get them. But as you can see here, there's lesson plans showing you what to do to create certain different art projects that you might want to use these pan pastels with. So I thought that was absolutely amazing. And on the back of them again, you get some more information about the PanPastels, that type of thing, about different artists that are using them. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic all round product that you can go out and buy, and obviously have tips and about the techniques that you need to use, about the other products that you can use in line with the PanPastels, which is very important. That type of thing. So when I got this set through, these are some of the packets. I'll have some images coming up here showing you these packets in a better detail. But these are the different sponge applicators that come with the set. You get some smaller ones here as well. These ones here are quite large, obviously for larger areas. Then you have these tiny little ones, which they go on the end of these like palette things, spatula things, for obviously finer detail. They come in different shapes to give you different effects. And then there's this tiny little thing here, which I find really useful. And the way this is used, you just take this little sponge applicator off, and then put it down into the barrel, so to speak. You get a little set of these sponge applicators, so that when you're chopping and changing it and stuff like that, you can get some fresh ones out if your sponge gets too dirty. Same with the spatulas that I showed you there as well. You get replacements to go on those as well, which is excellent. But also, you can use both sides of these, so once one side gets really dirty, you just turn it over and use the clean side. But you can use the sides of these as well. I'll show you that in a second. And when you're cleaning them, just get like a paper towel and clean any excess pastel off. You're not going to get it all off, but you'll get the most of it off, so that you can then go back in and use another colour. So I'm going to do now is show you the PanPastels, show you what can be done with them, that type of thing, the blending, all the rest of it. So we'll get into that now. Okay, so I'm just going to move the actual pastels over to the side here. As you can see here with the pastel mat pad that I got, you get different coloured papers in here. I've got white, sienna, brown, and kind of like a Payne's grey, dark Payne's grey. As you can see here, they've got this kind of like tracing paper over it just to protect the work that you're doing, but you can lift these out. They're kind of gummed in, the gum lining at the top here. But the paper itself is kind of it's kind of like a very, very fine sandpaper. It's really, really super fine. It's not like some of the other pastel papers that you can get, which are really coarse. This one's not so coarse, but it grips hold of the pastel fantastically. And obviously not just for PanPastels, but obviously pastel pencils, that type of thing as well. Okay, so I've gone a little bit closer in there to the pad, and because of the light, it's making the paper look lighter than what it is, but that might change once I start putting down some colour. Okay, so one of the really, really fundamental big uses of PanPastel is being able to cover really large areas really fast and not have to mess about with like colour pencil artists do, doing little circles and then blending it and stuff like that. PanPastels do everything really, really fast in that regard. So I'll just lift out this red. So you get this red. I've got one of the larger sponges here, and all you do is you just rub it across, pick up some pigment on your pad, and then just start rubbing it across the paper. You go back in, and you can see there just how much you're able to cover and how quick a large area like that would come along. With the smaller applicators, as I was showing you earlier on, one of the really good things about these is they help you get a lot of detail. So let me get this white. Same type of principle. Okay, so you get your spatula, you just rub it on to the PanPastel. On the sides as well, if you want, if you're going to be doing like branches or that type of thing, obviously not with white, but, and then you apply it just the same way as it did. So you can see there with that, you get a lot more detail. This little tool, I use this quite a lot because I've done a speed drawing with these PanPastels. There's an image coming up here, you'll be able to see what I've done. I actually started, I done a bird, but I don't know, I just felt that I needed a little bit more practice with these PanPastels, so I thought to myself that I'll go back and I'll do something a little bit more simple. So I've done this botanical piece. And what I mean by practice is, it's got nothing to do with the PanPastels, the actual product itself. It's more to do with the fact of being a colour pencil artist and getting used to certain things that you can easily accomplish in pastels in general. But I'll talk to you more about that in a second. So this little tool, I found it really, really helpful for much finer detail. And then if you want, you can of course go in with a clean sponge and just fade it out a bit, or do whatever you need to do with it, you know, for your own art. One of the things I've heard a lot of people talk about with PanPastels is mixing them. Can you mix the colours, and how do you mix the colours in order to get you know, a different shade or a different colour, that type of thing. So what I'm going to show you is, this is one of the techniques that I used. So if I get this, I get this blue and yellow. It might be, the blue might be the wrong shade for this, but if you just take a little bit of the blue there and then mix it in with the yellow, and don't worry about muddying the top of this up, because you're going to use that pigment that you've just mixed in. So you can see there that it is getting a shade of green, and then you just put it on the paper. So you kind of mix it in on the PanPastel, but then just take it off, and then use the surface of your paper to get the color. So you can see there that I used quite a dark blue and quite a dark yellow actually, and got a nice green there from it. Now in terms of blending as well, blending is really super easy with these. So with the piece I done, the apple, I done like a background on it, and I just blended some, like a dark blue, a light blue, and then to a white. So I'll just show you now how to do that. So I'm going to use this darker blue. And then dip it into the lighter. And then into the white. And then all you got to do is you just keep working them into each other and dip back into the colours that you need, just to make the blend a lot more smooth and seamless. But you get the general idea. So blending colours, different colours into each other, it's perfect. It works really well. So for your background, if you've got a sky or something like that, that's how it works. But obviously there's going to be certain details that you may not be able to get with PanPastels. So that's where pastel pencils come in and obviously help you out a bit. Now, here's one of the problems that I found. Not a problem. It's a problem with me, not the actual product. As a colour pencil artist, you're taught kind of right from the word go that if you want really bright light, whites and things like that, you've either got to leave the white of the paper and draw around it and that type of thing, or try and get some sort of opaque white pigment, which is archival. Obviously, the archival property of it is very important if you're going to be using light fast pencils. And with the exception of like the brush and pencil stuff, there's not too many at the minute white, really opaque white archival properties. I mean, a lot of people use jelly rolls and that type of thing, but they're not archival on their colour pencil art. But with PanPastels, it's totally different. You can put down a dark background and then come in with lights on top, and for somebody that's done it the opposite way around, trying to keep the whites and the highlights and stuff like that protected all the way through the drawing. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and that's why when I was doing the bird, I was missing this concept. I kept missing it. I kept trying to leave highlights, that type of thing, and it just wasn't working. And that's why I went back to something a little bit simpler and done the apple. But like I say, you can come back in with pastel pencils and just do whatever you need to do. And I'm just scribbling there, but you can even see there, and that's not a really good demonstration of it, but you can see there that it's a light pencil, a light blue on top of a dark blue, and it just goes on perfectly. In fact, let me show you with this red here. So this is quite a deep red. I haven't really blended it in that well, but nevertheless, so I've got this white pastel pencil. And you can see there, you can just go in on top of it and put your highlights in. Now, there is a debate about whether you should be using fixatives on PanPastels and stuff like that. That's a whole different debate that I'm not going to get into here, because some pastel artists say yes and some pastel artists say no, and that's a whole different debate. I did try it on one of the tests that I was doing with it, with the brush and pencil fixative. It worked fine. I didn't have any issues with it or anything like that. Obviously, it changes the colour slightly, but not very much. But like I say, that's something that I'm not really going to get into here. That's maybe something for a different review. Another thing about these PanPastels, and I don't know why, but when I first got them, I really didn't consider light fastness. I thought to myself that they probably weren't going to be light fast, just given, I don't know, the consistency of them, but they are. if you go across to their website, I'll have a link down below. They have a color chart of all the different colors that they have available, and underneath each color there's a star system rating the light fastness of it as well. So I'll have that up over on the written review of the PanPastels here, and you'll be able to get to see it as well. Now, there's some fantastic artists out there that use these PanPastels, pastel artists. They do wildlife art, that type of thing, and they get some absolutely fantastic results with them. When I've been using them, I've had a lot of fun using them. I especially like the fact that you can just put your lights down, but like I say, it's a little bit of a learning curve going from coloured pencil art to pastel art, and then just understanding that you don't have to leave the page, you don't have to leave the lights, you don't have to work around lights type of thing whenever you're using these PanPastels. I think that's everything for this review. Like I said at the beginning, the pastel mat is just the paper I used. I've tested a couple of other pastel papers and I just personally didn't like them, but it's a personal preference. It's a good idea to test different pastel papers like velour, stuff like that. I know that's a popular paper. Test it out for yourself and see which type of paper is going to be right for the type of art you want to do. I talk about this all the time with how important paper is to surfaces. Whatever art you're going to do will determine the type of paper that you're going to use. If you're going to be looking for something with real detailed work, you're not going to want a paper that's really, really rough and textured. It may not work that well for you. There's lots of other different reasons as well, but I just want people to understand that the pastel mat is my personal choice. It's not necessarily the paper that you have to use for PanPastels or anything like that. But all in all, I think PanPastels are fantastic. Also as well, it's not just pastel pencils that you can use on top of this. You can also use coloured pencils. So like your Faber-Castells, those types of pencils, you can come back in on top with coloured pencils and put your detail down there as well. Another thing you can do, which I haven't done in this test, but it can be done, is when you put your pastel, the PanPastel down with your applicator, you can actually wet it with like a wet brush, and you're basically then painting with it. I've not done that, but it can be done. Over on the PanPastel website, they show you that and they demonstrate that. But I mean, you can just see the colours that you get in these are so vibrant, and whenever you're putting them down on the paper, it's perfect. In terms of buying sets, like I said, if you go over to the PanPastel website, they'll have all the different sets. They've got certain sets made up for certain art types. So like if you are interested in wildlife, that type of thing, or pet portraiture, they have sets that are specifically aimed for that over there. But you can also buy colours individually or in little groups of 5, that type of thing. Again, the link for the website will be down below. It's really worth your while going across, having a look at the website, guys, because there's so much information over there with regards to what you can buy from them. It's really unbelievable, and they make it very easy. And like I said to you, one of the really good things about their website is everything is right there on that one website. The product, the tools to apply the product, and the lesson plans. They've got really good lesson plans from simple to slightly more complicated. But really, really good. Anyway, guys, that's it for this review. But just before I go, I just want to mention a couple of things. I've seen a couple of websites around. A couple of people have asked me to mention them and stuff like that because their YouTube channels aren't really. They're just either starting out or they're wanting more subscribers. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of mentioning some of the much smaller websites or YouTube channels that are out there, and if you want, go across, check them out and have a look, because I personally think that they're worth your while going across and having a look. Now there's 2 that I want to talk about here. There's one called Mados Artwork. This guy just does speed drawings. He doesn't do reviews or anything like that, and it's kind of like fan art that he does. So if you're not interested in fan art, it may not be for you, but like any fan art artists that are out there or fans of that particular art, go across, take a look at this guy. I'll have a link to his channel down below. Absolutely amazing. His artwork is phenomenal. The other one a lot of people here on this channel might know is the modernist color, or the modern colorist. Definitely go across, take a look at his work. He's just recently started videos up on YouTube. He's done a lot of different demonstrations of adult colouring books that he has, and he's got tons of them. I recommend that you go and watch his first video that he put up, because it gives you like a tour in and around his study area, and the equipment that he has, the tools that he has, the pencils and markers and everything else is fantastic. He's got a huge selection. But go across, take a look at the work that he's doing as well. Really, really good. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching this review. And don't forget, go across to the Art Gear Guide for the written review. You see the written review over there. I'll have prices, that type of thing, as I never mention prices on the videos, but there'll be prices and links to individual sets, that type of thing, that you can go across and buy yourself if you wish. And also, if you want to follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, the links for that will be down below in the description, and they'll also be over in the Art Gear Guide. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.